Okay, so lust. Let's just talk about it plainly for a second, because most videos on this either get super preachy or super vague, and neither one actually helps you. So today, I just want to break down in the simplest way I can what actually works when you're fighting this. No fancy words, no complicated theology, just plain practical stuff. Let's get into it.
First thing, stop trying to win a staring contest with temptation. Just leave. Here's what I mean. A lot of us treat temptation like it's a fight we have to stand our ground in. Like if we're strong enough, we can look at it, sit with it, flirt with it a little, and still come out fine. That almost never works. It's like standing next to a fire and trying to see how close you can get without getting burned. Eventually, you get burned.
The Bible's actually pretty simple about this. It doesn't say fight lust. It says run from it. There's a guy in the Bible named Joseph. His boss's wife tries to sleep with him, and he doesn't stop to think it over. He just runs. Runs so fast he leaves his jacket behind in her hands. That's the move. Not how much can I handle, but get out, now. So in plain terms, if it's your phone, put it down and walk into another room. If it's a person, a show, a certain time of night when you're alone and bored, whatever it is, the goal isn't to be a tough guy and stare it down. It's just to leave. Second, fight back with actual words, not just willpower. Willpower alone is honestly pretty weak. It's like trying to hold a door shut with your hand instead of just locking it. What actually works better is having something specific to say to yourself in the moment, an actual Bible verse, spoken out loud if you can. Even Jesus did this. When he was tempted, he didn't just grit his teeth and push through on willpower. Every single time he said an actual verse out loud. So practically, this means picking 2 or 3 verses ahead of time, before you're ever tempted, and actually memorizing them so they're ready to go instead of you scrambling to think of something in the moment. Third, stop keeping it a secret. Tell someone. This one's uncomfortable, but it matters a lot. Secrets are basically fuel for this stuff. The longer something stays hidden, the stronger its grip gets. But the moment you say it out loud to somebody you trust, a lot of its power just disappears. You don't need to announce it to everybody. Just 1 or 2 people who actually care about you and won't just shame you for it. Somebody who'll actually check in and ask how you're doing. That single decision to stop hiding it changes almost everything. Fourth, figure out your actual pattern and cut it off at the source. Be honest with yourself for a second. When does this usually happen? Late at night? When you're bored? Alone? Scrolling for no reason? Once you actually know your pattern, you can do something really practical about it, like charging your phone in a different room at night, or avoiding certain apps altogether, or not being alone in certain situations.
This isn't about being extreme or paranoid. It's just being honest that some situations basically guarantee you're going to struggle. So why keep putting yourself there? Fifth, pay attention to what you're actually feeding your mind. Here's a simple way to think about it. Whatever you keep putting into your head is what's going to grow there. If you're constantly watching or scrolling through stuff that stirs up lust, and then you're surprised your mind keeps going there, that's like watering weeds every day and being confused why you don't have a garden of flowers.
So really simply, pay attention to what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're scrolling through. Not because you have to be perfect about it, but because whatever you consistently feed is what keeps showing up in your thoughts. Sixth, flip I want into thank you. This one's actually kind of a game changer once you notice it. Lust basically runs on one feeling. I want, I want, I want. It's never satisfied. But gratitude does the opposite. It says, I already have enough. So practically, when you feel that pull, instead of just trying to shut it down, try actually thanking God for something specific. Not a generic thanks God, but something real and specific in your life right now. It sounds small, but it actually starts to change how your mind reacts in that moment, because you can't really feel I want more and thank you for what I already have at the same time. Seventh, don't just sit around bored. Get busy with something that actually matters.
This one gets skipped a lot, but it's honestly a big one. Think about King David for a second, one of the more famous failures in the whole Bible. Where was he when it all started? Not out doing what he was supposed to be doing. He was just sitting around the palace with nothing to do. Boredom, it turns out, is basically one step away from trouble. So if you notice this tends to happen most when you've got nothing going on, that's actually useful information. Go for a walk, work out, call a friend, work on something you genuinely care about. When your mind and your time are actually occupied with something good, there's just less room for this stuff to creep in.
And last, when you do fail, don't hide. Go straight to God, not away from him. Because you will fail sometimes. Everybody does. And here's the trap a lot of people fall into. They mess up, feel horrible about it, and instead of going to God, they hide from him. Kind of like Adam and Eve did after they sinned. They literally went and hid. But here's the thing. When God came looking for them, he didn't say, "How could you?" He just asked, "Where are you?" Not because he didn't know, because he was inviting them back, not accusing them. So when you fail, that's actually the moment to run toward God, not away from him. Say it out loud, be honest about it, and keep going. Guilt just keeps you stuck in the same cycle. Grace is what actually gets you moving forward again. So quick recap, leave instead of standing your ground. Use actual words in scripture instead of just willpower. Stop keeping it secret. Know your pattern and cut it off. Watch what you're feeding your mind. Flip "I want" into "thank you." Stay busy with something that matters. And when you fail, run to God instead of away from him. Before we wrap up, if this kind of practical, plain-spoken teaching is helpful to you, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. There's a lot more of this coming. So here's what I actually want you to do with all this. Don't try to do all 7 at once. Just pick the one you know you're weakest on and focus there this week. That's really how change actually happens. Little by little, not all at once. If this helped you today, subscribe for more like this, and I'll see you in the next one.